I am Muktianandama. I am a world creator, a collaborator, and a co-creator of this world that we as one find ourselves in this moment of time. Today I'd like to express some perhaps radical world changing, paradigm shifting realities for you to try on, choices for you to reflect on and perhaps make. And radically choosing, deciding to be an eternal embodiment, an identity in this world, founded and based in eternity, is a radical paradigm, world disrupting, changing decision, and an area that is important to be aware of and focused on is in the daily moment where your consciousness is referencing from as you use the great command I am. It is very subtle, this reference point of identity, this very hidden, if you will, point that your consciousness is tethered to as you make the command I am. As you slow time within your own being and begin to look to find that point of reference, you will find that it is tethered to a feeling, frequency, image. This image, as you become more aware, is the image of a limited mortal body. You begin to notice the matrix, the core matrix of the embodiment and those within the embodiment, the images that are within the embodiment of this limited identity. Even while being aware of your expanded external state, when you make the command, I am, or even you are, as you project out yourself into the illusion of another, you will find that you indeed are still referencing a limited form. You may experience it as a subtle vision within yourself of a body, of a life, of memory, of fears, and all these other things that are really just programmed matrices of an identity which will project a certain world. And yet this identity has realized something that is earth-shattering of the former world one believed was real, and real meaning unchanging. You realized your eternal nature. You realized it through a profound experience that will not let you alone. And in that realization, a conception between the limited identity and the eternal identity formed. You conceived now the possibility to give birth through your spirit, through the source of your being, to an eternal identity which would witness the unfolding of that world of eternity within the mortal world. And the joy of each awe-filled moment where eternity comes forth in all things and experience. And so we really want you to become aware of the consciousness that you are referencing, both in form and thought and in feeling, when you say, I am, or you are. From what world are you speaking? From what identity are you speaking? And in this, you disrupt the habitual and introduce a choice again, the choice of identity. And from that identity, which world you will experience. The radical truths that I offer you, that I bring to remembrance, which is up for your decision, is that there is no before and there is no after. There is only moments shaped in choice, whether made lifetimes ago or made in this moment. Every moment you choose comes with pre-programmed memories, memories that seem to tell a story that makes sense about a past, and memories, if you will, of a future that tell a story about hope. But it's the identity chosen in the moment that determines the before and after in the consciousness of the identity chosen. Your eternal identity does not have the same past or future of your limited identity. For each identity, these things do not exist in the sense that they are real in the moment. They are inserted, if you will, these memories, these storylines, these future hopes. The identity chooses or comes with a pre-packaged past and a pre-packaged future. This is important because when one chooses such a radically different identity from mortal to eternal, the past that is referenced from the eternal identity and the future that is referenced from the eternal identity is vastly different, seemingly impossible, even to the limited mind, crazy. And this is the challenge of becoming an eternal identity and keeping your reference point on this identity, is to think and analyze from the eternal identity and not from the limited mind, so that each moment you choose to reference and be and experience the life of the eternal identity. There is no before you must fix, heal, work with, acknowledge, do anything with that was of the eternal identity. I mean, the limited identity. And there is nothing you need to do about the future that that limited identity longs for. There's no obligation to the past and no obligation to the future, for they do not exist. The only thing that exists in actuality, experientially, we like that word, replacing experience for reality, they mean the same thing, and reality for experience. These words can be interchangeable in this context. So in being the identity again and deciding again and again to be that eternal identity, to reference all the wonderful stories of past and all the grand desires of the future, as one commands with I am, to experience the world that that eternal identity comes in. Is there more than one eternal identity? Of course, unlimited options available. The most important thing is to realize what your consciousness is tied to and referencing in these I am statements and the you are statements. For the you are define the world from the perspective of the identity. So yes, we will allow and begin and enjoy some questions now from our beloved representative of humanity.
Thank you, Mukti Anandama. I am always graced by your presence. I find it very interesting and soothing even. It's something I've known to be true subconsciously when you said that we are not obligated to our past and our future when we embody this eternal identity. It releases us, untethers us from that timeline. Can you describe a little bit more of, elaborate on that process, that we could know it, to let it go?
If you are referencing your limit identity, it will always be there. If you are referencing in your I am statements and in your daily actions, your consciousness fixated on the identity of the limited self, there is no getting rid of the past. There's no getting rid of the desires, the fears, and everything that is the limited identity. You will be forever working through all of that endlessly as that limited identity takes its journey through infinite possibilities. There is an option to a limited identity to give way to a different identity. And for those who feel called and feel up for the adventure, there's the choice and the option that opens up among the infinite options to jump or leap or to decide that one will now be without needing a bridge, without needing a path, without needing a process, to be the eternal identity. And by referencing this eternal identity in your I am, so shall you be. And you pay attention to the memories now of that eternal identity you have selected. For Muktiananda Ma, for myself, it is the memories of worlds where temples are built. Much adventure with kindred soul family members, creating spectacular experiences for both the world and for the beings in it. A memory of great companions along the way, who would we call masters or teachers or guides, beings creating galaxies. It is a past filled with many different worlds, carrying the note of the sacred divine, experiencing a sort of childhood as Muktiananda Ma, an eternal childhood, if you will, and at the same time experiencing a past filled with lifetimes of wisdom. It is important to allow these memories to surface. They are within the eternal identity you have selected. We hope this helps.
It does. I guess for those that experience the limited identity, how do you marry the two in the sense that, let's say you've broken your arm or you're experiencing pain or loss or something that draws you into that limited consciousness and awareness? How do you
recognize that you created such an experience through a limited identity, and you now choose to focus on your eternal identity, keeping your consciousness on the body of the eternal identity, which will represent in your consciousness something with a capacity to bring immediate perfection to every moment, even if it is an unfolding across time, 2 days, 2 weeks, 2 years, whatever, that within your body, no matter where you land, momentarily connected to your limited identity and creating experience, the moment you recognize your eternal identity, the eternal identity comes in and brings about an experience that represents its own nature. Victory over death, illness, accident, because it is eternity itself. It is free to play out in the modus operandi of ever perfecting love. So if you find yourself in pain, challenged with a limited identity's reality, we recommend to more and more each moment choose to reference your eternal identity and your commands of I am and you are, including the commands that are going on right in your own head without even being spoken, the thoughts that you are entertaining, that you are holding, that you are allowing to move. Reference the thoughts of the eternal identity. And the more and more that you do that, you will see the shifting from the limited to the unlimited, from the separate illusionary death self to the unlimited, ever perfecting eternal self.
Thank you. Yesterday, it was discussed how the limited identity is like a child that gets dirty and then comes to the parent. In, I guess, specifically me, why did I incarnate to this specific role? I guess, how does it make, for the listener, how does one reconcile the limited identity's life and let it go? Is there a
You
reason?
don't. There's nothing to do with it. You decide to now give your energy to your eternal identity. You put that identity aside when you are ready. Not everybody's ready. This is not for every being in your world. But if the calling is there, if the play of the limited identity is complete, then there will be a great longing and power, if you will, to choose now the eternal identity. The great news is you don't need to do anything with the limited identity. It is a contained system. It is a costume, which one must remove to put on a new costume.
Right. Can you tell me a story or a memory or something about Aaliyah that would allow me to latch on to this identity more in a way that the listener can see the contrast?
Yes, I understand the reason that this question is being brought up. And yes, of course, that is possible. However, we will not. And the reasoning is it is important that you break the barrier, that you be the decider, and not to rest on an outside voice as your confirmation of your eternal nature and identity. Everything that you seek is within you. You decide. That's the key. You will receive information as you put your attention on your eternal nature. You will receive little movies or scenes or feelings that you've done things that if you allow yourself to explore these things, you will uncover the very thing you're asking for. It is important that you uncover it. If we were to give you these things, it would only delay your own enlightened eternal identity from embodying, because it's putting the power externally. You're making a choice based on others' words about who you are. The invitation here as an eternal being is for you to see all possibilities of who you would like to be and make a choice to put your attention on that identity. And then open your gifts of memories, of desires of that identity one by one. Enjoy the unfolding of the getting to know thyself as an eternal chosen identity.
Know thyself, yes. Yes, identity is so key. Thank you, Mukti Anandama.
You're very welcome. We thank you for today.